This is Colin O'Keefe for LXBN TV. The National Labor Relations Board recently ruled that a healthcare group in Florida did nothing wrong for firing an employee who dared them to do just that on Facebook. Joining me now to explain what happened and weigh in on whether or not things have become just a little bit ridiculous with these Facebook firing cases is Maria Danaher, attorney with Ogletree Deacons in Pittsburgh and author on their blog, Employment Law Matters. Maria, first, can you explain what exactly happened here? Let's run through these somewhat ridiculous details.
Sure. Well, and it's from some standpoints it might seem ridiculous, but I think that this is actually a really good example of a situation where we think we know what should have happened, but I think that actually the individual who wrote the advice memo on this used it as a kind of a teaching point. So he walked through the situation, the circumstance, which involved a group of people in a Facebook chat, a Facebook general message, and they were talking together about some social event that they were planning. In the midst of this, one of the individuals started talking about a workplace incident in which she had talked back to a supervisor, or a supervisor had approached her and she told him to get out of my face, kind of thing. And then she went on to say, as you pointed out, something like, go ahead, make my day, fire me. Incredibly, she was then fired and was upset about it, and said, she filed a charge saying she thought that it was concerted protected activity because she had been talking to fellow employees. But realistically, she wasn't really talking about the terms and conditions of employment. She was talking about her own personal feeling about what had happened, or about the supervisor, about her coworkers. So it didn't really rise to the level that some of these Facebook issues have, where people are talking about the actual terms and conditions, wages, whatever. Let's unionize, let's get together and work on something. So that's kind of what separated this. So we read it and we think, oh, we know what should have happened. She should have been fired. But realistically, what the advice memo says is, don't forget that there's also situations in which individuals can be deemed to be involved in concerted activity, even though no one else is involved in it. So they call it the inherently concerted activity. So if someone's talking about wages, if someone's talking about, I think we're being supervised badly, and the implication there is, I can help you do something, or we should do something together, that might be protected activity.
Absolutely. So, and second, I understand the NLRB wanting, of course, to protect some speech on Facebook and other social media platforms, but are things getting a little ridiculous when this is even called into question? Or, as I think you've alluded to, are things not as straightforward as we think?
Well, that's a really good question, because I think what we get from this, and again, the teaching point from this, is that these should be looked at on a case-by-case basis, because we can't really make these generalizations. Every time somebody says, make my day, fire me, go ahead and fire them, we can't do that. Even if we'd like to, we can't do that. And just because somebody uses the word wages or somebody uses the word unfair, it doesn't mean it's protected. So really, employers are going to have to take a step back from this and be a little more specific and a little more careful in their analysis. And I say you should at least pull in HR to talk to you about this. If not legal, if you've got in-house legal, talk to them. And I think that that's the step that needs to be taken, because clearly the DOL is looking at, the NLRB is looking at these, and they should be, because the law says that we can't preclude concerted protected activity. So that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Employers always want to be cautious in dealing with things like this because, as you've seen and I've seen, the NLRB is taking a very close look at Facebook firing cases like this. Employers have to be careful, even if the appropriate course of action seems obvious at first. Once again, that was Maria Danaher of Ogletree Deacons. For more of her insight on this case and for employment law in general, be sure to visit employmentlawmatters.net. And of course, you know where to go. Come visit us at lxbn.com, where we really have hundreds of these LXBN TV interviews on a number of different subjects, along with curated commentary from the LexBlog Network's more than 8,000 members. Thanks for joining me today, Maria.
Thank you.